Hey guys, hey, welcome back, my beautiful souls. And I am so excited because today I have with me Miss Pheonyx. I have watched Pheonyx blossom into her gifts. I've watched her go through her own spiritual journey, and we kind of went through a little bit of a spiritual togetherness for a little while. So I'm so excited to have her here with today. So you guys know the drill. Without further ado, let's get to healing. Hello, Pheonyx. How are you?
Hi, I'm well. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. Will you take a minute and introduce yourself? I want everybody to know who you are and what it is that you do.
Oh, it's always such a big question. It's like, what part do you want to know? I am Pheonyx Pearson, and I like to just call myself a multidimensional medicine woman.
Ooh, I like that.
Because I've learned that I'm always serving in different capacities, even when I'm not realizing it. And these things, sometimes we look for our spiritual gifts to be so big, and sometimes it's really subtle.
Yeah.
Like I'm a great communicator, I'm a weaver, I connect people, places, things. So I've just learned to say I am a multidimensional medicine woman that kind of covers the bases.
Yeah.
I am a shamanic tantrika. So I do work with energy, particularly the second energy through the Kemetic tradition. I am a womb healer. I'm a womb sauna practitioner.
Oh.
So my main work is like working with women and sitting with them and being a witness while we do a yoni steam. But the way that we do it is a lot more like kind of like you're getting a life coach in there at the same time. We're processing and we're working through your womb story and why are you here and where do you want to go, And so it's a little bit of a difference. It's also a bit of a shamanic process as well. Lots of things come up and come out when you're sitting over those herbs, working with the earth energy and calling in that spiritual help as well. So I do a lot of things. Birth doula, death doula, life transitions coach.
Yeah.
So kind of I'm here to serve,
Yes. Well,
and just be integrated in how I do it.
And when you become a shaman, I feel like you have many faces. It's not just, oh, here I am as a healer. You become a healer, a mother, a father figure, a sister, a brother, like whatever
A
it
nurse,
is.
a confidant,
Yes.
a veil walker.
Yeah. And you had your own shaman journey too.
Oh yeah. I feel like my whole life has been.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that when you really start to look back, you realize it's always been there.
Yeah.
We're just remembering. Sometimes we say becoming, but that doesn't even always feel just right to say either because it's like I've already been it though.
Yeah.
But stepping into remembering. But yeah, when I look back, I'm like, yeah, I was the kid that spent a lot of time alone. I was the only kid for 8 years, which I at the time didn't appreciate. I was like, Mom, give me some siblings. But that was a blessing.
Yeah.
I got to spend time with me and my guides.
Yeah.
And I would talk to the moon. And I would collect pine cones. I mean, there's just things I look back and I'm like, I was always that nature kid that was just, I was content, me and nature. I didn't need much. My inner world was always very rich, vivid dreams and things like that. So I look at it and I'm like, the whole thing's a shamanic path.
It is.
We try to mark when it happened, and I think that's really not, it's disservicing to try to say, this is when I stepped in. But yes, I've had training. I've definitely had mentorship.
Yeah.
I've taken so many, I'm in school all the time. I'm always learning something. Yeah. I'm here to, I believe school, that's the school of life, that we're here to learn. And I have a passion for learning. So yeah, I've had some formal training, but I look back and I'm like, the whole thing's been a shamanic journey.
It has. Yes. And I could see you talking to the moon. I could just see you out there hi moon, how are you? I love that. And you have this very beautiful mother Gaia feeling when when I first met you, I felt very oh, she's very grounded. I just feel and I could tell you were going through your own spiritual journey, but it wasn't something that was pulling you so far down that you were in the darkness. But I also saw you face a lot of the darkness. And if I kind of want to step on that for a minute, if a client was to come to you and they're in the midst of that darkness, what advice would you give them, or what would you say hey, let's start here, or let's
It's always a more personal thing. And when I try to think of the perfect thing to say,
there's not.
There's not. But when that person's with me, it just flows.
Yeah.
I do consider myself an underworld guide.
Okay.
My name is Pheonyx for a reason. And even still, I spend a lot of time traversing into that realm. I know how to navigate it, though. And I know that it's never eternal.
Yeah.
It's always, I'm here for a purpose. I'm here to gather some gems. I kind of think of it as like mining for gems.
Yeah.
Like when you think of a mine, they're really dark and scary. Have you ever been to some of these like in Arizona? You know, they're not like fun places, but you can find some cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
That's where the crystals are, right? So I look at it as, let's go and see what's here. I get curious. That would be my advice. Get curious.
Yeah.
Realize that it's not finite. Think about the things that you've already overcome. If you're here and you're asking how to keep going, you've done it before. You know, so that same, I look back and I think about the things that I've already overcome, and I remember that, oh, I have what I need. Because I didn't think I had it then. You never think you're ready.
Oh, no.
But you are always being prepared for that next thing. And sometimes that darkness, that confusion, that doubt, all of that is actually the preparation you need.
Yes.
Because you're getting a clear slate. Everything has to be cleared. So when you're in the void, it's like, I don't know. That's the perfect place to be. Yes. If you don't know, then you can create anything. Because when you know, now you have bias. Now you think you know, because we think we know. We don't ever know. We don't ever know. But when you think you know, it's a really limiting place to be.
Yeah.
And this is coming from somebody who likes to know everything. Like, I constantly go down rabbit holes. I'm a mystic at heart. I'm always studying. I want to know. But I'm realizing, like, that irritating feeling of not knowing has been some of the most powerful places in my life. Because on the other side of that is greater than I could ever imagine.
And you're kind of in that not knowing stage.
Oh my goodness,
now. Like,
yes. You know.
We were just talking about it a little bit ago. Like, you're in that moment where you're like, I know something is calling us. And I know something's bringing us forward. But I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful, because I think something powerful is going to come from that.
I know it is.
Honestly.
And thank you for speaking that over my life. Yeah. And that's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
We show up where we're at. It's not about trying to be the guru from somebody else. It's about literally embodying what it is to just live life and go through the experiences and be real. Yes. We have enough people with this polished, this is what you should do. That's why I'm like, to try to think of what I would say to a person, that's hard, because it never it's like that. I've said things to a person that I don't think are very profound, and they come back and they're like, that was just what I needed to hear. And I'm like, thanks, guys, because
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that all the time. Like, I'll have clients come back to me and they're like, did you know that you told me this? And I thought you were fake. And I was like, I don't want to come back to her. And then two months later, here it is. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't know I said that. Like, or they'll be like, or I tried it. And I'm like, well, did it work? Yeah. Awesome. There you go. So, there you have it.
Yep. Weaving with the great mystery. Yep.
Earlier when we were talking, you also talked about like stuff that's going on in the universe, and I loved your connection to the universe.
Okay, what did I say that
you were like? There's so much going on with what is it, like in the universe, like solar flares and the full moon, and right now we have a full moon. So right now is that Sagittarius full moon.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling it.
Yes. Talk about that. Like, let's get into that. Let's talk about like the energy that you're feeling, and just like I'm getting chills.
So I'm a Sag midheaven.
Ooh. That's why you
conjunct the galactic center.
Yeah.
Your daughter?
Yeah, because she's a Sagittarius.
And guess what? My daughter is a Sag rising. So that's that
no
whole connection there. And you and her as well, and all of it. Yeah. Our daughters are besties. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a Sag rising. So look at that. Just all that connecting. I love it.
Yes. For the first, like, as it was coming in, so I always feel the energy a little bit before. And it's taken me a while to, like, realize it. Because people say readings and all this stuff about, and I'm like, oh, that's what that was. Because it already happens for me. Yeah. And I felt so much mental chaos. Like, just new ideas and it felt like anxiety. But I've been reframing that, because anxiety, sometimes that can be automatically like it's negative. Yeah. And it's just this build up of like, it can feel kind of restless, but it's like, let's go, you know?
Yeah.
And so it was a very uncomfortable, but now I'm feeling more like the other part of Sag, which is like, let's go on an adventure.
Oh, yeah, I know that one.
You know, and
That's
so
how I ended up in a camper.
Yes, me too.
Love it.
And so I've just learned to like ride those waves, and also I try to be careful not to guess what it's gonna look like, because there's so many factors that come up.
Yeah.
People get so like, it's a Libra full moon, so that means that this is how your relationship, like, it's not always that.
Yeah.
You know? But for me, yeah, that's what I've been. What have you been feeling as a Sag rising?
I had anxiety. So 2 days ago, I woke up with bad anxiety. And I mean, I was freaking out. I'm like, I have to move. I have to get out of here. Like, I cannot be sitting here. And then I sat there for a minute. I was like, okay, first of all, you're mom. So let's think logically. Like, let's not just, let's not do that. But second of all, I was like, where is this? And I like how you said you didn't want to call it anxiety. Like, that's just, I agree that we have made it such a bad term. And whenever I feel anxiety with a client, it's, to me, it's because they're working through something. Energy's coming up that needs to be worked out and removed. Same with like depression. It's just something we need to go back and find and work on. So I definitely felt that whole anxiety thing, and then I felt the need to move, like the need just to get things going and to change, to release and let go of something that I had been holding on for far too long. Okay. So I like I said, I like that you changed the word anxiety though. That was very good. I like that.
I mean, because at the end of the day, it's about making the energy work for you, right? Yeah. I don't believe in being a victim to energy, so I don't use celestial things as even I'm definitely an astro nerd, but I don't use my chart as, well, that's just how I am. We were supposed to evolve, you know, and you were born with this blueprint, but you get to choose how you're going to work with the cards you were dealt, you know, or the cards you chose, depending on how you look at it. I like to think I chose them. Yeah. But, you know, it took a while to accept it, but now that it kind of makes sense. I chose mine. Yeah. But you want to work with it, so that's why I try not to frame it and just go, okay, what's coming up? What am I being asked to? Yeah. And I have like a lot of new opportunities. Even this, you asking me to come do this, Spirit's working on me about just like, it's been the yes season. Yes. And so, you know, there is a nervousness that comes when you're doing new things. That's to be expected. So giving myself grace and just being like, okay. And then it's like the ending factor goes, oh, Sag full moon. And it's like, it's more of a confirmation for me instead of like trying to predict what's going to happen, if that makes sense. Yeah. That's how I like to look at the celestial things, and just remembering there's always so much going on. Me and one of my other shaman friends, that's like how we end every well, there's a lot going on. Yes, there is. Because there always is.
There's so much going on right now, and just so much change. Like I was talking to somebody the other day, and they just said so much is shifting. It's just, we see change everywhere. We're seeing change up above us. We're seeing change around us. We're seeing things happening.
In Mother Earth.
Oh, and Mother Earth.
In our bodies.
Yes.
There's been a lot of like interesting things coming. Have you seen that with clients and stuff? Like, why am I all of a sudden like, it's like our bodies are literally upgrading. Our bodies are shifting as well.
Yeah. My body doesn't even want junk food anymore. I am a huge chip fan. Okay. Like, I love me some chippies, and I went to go eat some the other day, and I was like, they don't taste good. And it was so weird. And same with soda pop. Like, I wanted a Dr. Pepper, but when I went to go drink it, I was like, this is disgusting. Yeah. Like, I don't, like, I've noticed that, and one of my other clients said she can't eat sugar anymore.
Our bodies are so wise. I'm actually getting ready to do a sugar-free challenge for 30 days if you want to join me.
Ooh, I just did that.
Okay.
I will tell you something. So I, because I'm taking the advanced shaman course with my shaman, we had to do a 30-day, like, whole spiritual thing. Okay. And I got I'm addicted to sugar. I was addicted to sugar. And I remember.
There you go.
Right? we kicked that or not.
Quantum leaping. Yes. That's a past story.
Yes, but I will continue to join you because it's been like a good experience.
Yeah, we're starting in the new month. So I'll start like sharing about it and stuff here. We're getting everything together, but we're going to have some group support and stuff. Nice. It's a Facebook group called Let the Womb Be Heard. Okay. And it's with my womb sauna community, so we're just calling everybody in. It's absolutely free. It's just something we wanted to offer, because me and her were talking and we're like, we need to kick this, and if we need to, that's kind of how it works. It's like, if I'm feeling this, then there's people that could also benefit, so we wanted to share that energy.
Yeah. I like that. Did you guys get that? Just saying.
Let the womb be heard. Facebook
we'll put all the
group.
stuff
Yeah.
in the description for you guys. Let's go. I want to tap into that womb also. So I love womb healing, and I work with my doula all the time, and then I do like womb healing with my clients. When you were talking about like how you do the womb healing and everything, and the yoni steams, I call it yoni. What did you call it?
Yoni.
Yoni. Yeah,
tomato,
everybody
tomato.
says it right. But I could feel like the energy just rising in you, and you got so excited about it. Like, I want to talk about that a little bit, especially your experience with womb healing.
Okay. Where to start? I think for me, I was raised in an oppressive, I would say, cult religion. And in that religion, there's only a father. Yeah. And so, like, I didn't have any womb issues personally, like health issues. But there was this disconnect between me and my heavenly mother, me and my cosmic mother. And I had gone a long part of my journey being very deeply connected spiritually with the father energy.
Yeah.
And so for me, a part of the womb healing was recognizing God in my body. Ooh. Like that, my breasts that carry milk for my children is goddess. That's godly. That's divine.
Some damn goddess energy.
My
right there.
body creates exactly what my baby needs. If they're sick, that milk changes? What? There's scientific studies on breast milk. There's scientific studies on stem cells that come from our womb. And recognizing the deeper you go in it, then you realize the programming behind, like we were taught our womb blood is dirty.
Yeah.
And it's just like all of this paradigm shifting that starts to happen when you really honor your womb as sacred. Yeah. Not just this organ, like this dead flesh that's just there and has this function, but like it's always serving you, even when you're not having babies. It's always served. It's what allows us to tap into creative energy. Yeah. And we can create anything we want. Like we literally take spirit and form flesh. Yeah. It's amazing. The nerd in me.
I love it. I love it. It's just like, yes.
I love the science. I love the mind, body, spirit connection. And that portal of the womb just brings all of it together. Because a lot of this, like, we can literally see. It's undeniable. Some things are like, doctors may say it, but we don't know. Unless you're in there seeing it, you don't know. Yeah. But you know that my daughter looks just like me.
Oh, yeah. She does.
So.
And I love me some
genetics.
She's so beautiful.
It's clear. It's like something happens where this being comes and then goes through this alchemical process in your body, and you grow it, and it comes out, and then the bond that you feel forever with that child, like it's just the expansive, unlimited power of the womb of creation. Realizing that creative power is within us is so empowering, especially as female-bodied women, you know, going through Earth in for so long it's been, and that's changing. Yes. But so for so long, you know, women being the second, and all we're just breeders. Yeah. And so even changing the narrative that that this womb healing stuff isn't just for women who have babies. It isn't just for, you can choose not to have a baby. That's your womb. You can do what you want with it. Yeah. You know, you can create businesses. You can magnetize and attract to you the kind of relationships you want. You know, that can be romantic, that can be friends, that can be business. That all of that comes from that center. And just being womb. That my mentors taught me that the womb is the throne of the divine feminine. Ooh. It's the seat of your feminine power.
I like that. That gave me chills.
So being resting on your throne, you can't be up here. We're not made for that. Yeah. And so much of the spiritual practices that we've been taught are the more like correct, have been more of the masculine path. We think about sitting still, and that's great, and it works, and I love it. I love all of the things. But for me, my meditation is dancing. I'm a belly dancer. I go into a trance. I go into when I'm connecting with my body. I need to be in my body. It's important for all people. But really, when we have that womb center, because that is that creative energy, it needs to move. Creative energy is not stagnant.
No, it's not. And that's what I tell, my followers and stuff all the time, is moving your body, like for that nervous system, and just, your intuition comes from your sacral. It's, you know, your third eye is for the perceiving, but the real intuition is that gut instinct. And as moms, I know when I had Everly, like, it heightened. Like, I can still, like, right now, I'm like, she's playing. You know, like, I can tell, and she's happy right now.
She's
like,
all
I
right.
can feel it. Yeah, she's good.
And then you know when they're not.
Yes. Like, I can remember a time where you were worried about Carly, and I could just see it on your face, but you knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
It's that instinct, and I feel like you just carry that forever. And you guys, Carly looks exactly, or sorry, I don't mean to say her name if you didn't want her. But her daughter does look exactly like her. She watched my daughter. She was my daughter's babysitter for the longest time, and I will always be grateful for her. But she does, and now she's becoming a mom.
Yep, her baby shower
And
today.
Yay! And she's going through her own wound stuff.
Yeah.
And that's like a beautiful ancestral thing too. Like that ancestral healing that I've seen with you guys, it's just beautiful. Because now look at her, she's blossoming. And you know, when you heal something within you, you heal your generations.
Yep.
You heal, you know.
Our elders say 7 ahead and 7 behind. And I think it's even farther, but
yeah.
I think that's just like, you know, 7's that divine number. And I think it's more about the completion. Like you literally are, we can't even fathom, so it's easier to just say 7.
Yeah.
You know, because man, it really is a very deep ancestral process when you become a grandma. This is my second grandchild. But this is different because this is my girl having a girl. My son had a baby first, but yeah, it's been a beautiful process. I wanted to go back to something that came up. You were talking about the sacral being that center of intuition versus the third eye. We always think about, I like to call it my first eye, but we always think about this area, the crown, right? So I had a very long conversation. Me and my brother can just nerd off on spiritual things for hours, and we did yesterday. And he was sharing something with me, and the word source came up, right? And sometimes I like to go check. I'm a word nerd, so I love etymology, and I like to go see where did this word originally come from? What did it really mean? How was it being used?
Like the root.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's
and of course, we have it's all about connotation.
Yeah.
You know, there's words that used to mean one thing that means something else.
Yeah.
Gay used to mean happy. So there's all kinds of words that change over time. Language is very interesting that way. So looking up source, and it means to rise up.
Yeah.
To spring up. To rise. And I'm like, that's interesting because we always think of source.
I know, like
this
that's exactly when you say
down.
that. Yeah.
This downloads, right? That's what we say. We get downloads. And so I just went into like a whole automatic writing thing about it.
Yeah.
And the message that came up was like, really, that rooted energy pulling up is source. But the culmination of it, the manifestation of it is here. Because we pull that energy up.
Yeah.
The roots are the truth of a thing.
Yeah.
You got to get to the bottom, right? That's what we say. We got to get to the roots of it. We pulled energy up from the root. We transmute it. You know, we clarify it. We check our intuition. We let our heart do its thing to weigh out the scales of if this is right or not. And by the time it reaches up, we might start talking about it. Me and you are having conversation. See, you're starting to think. I'm starting to think. It's getting clear. And then, ding, it's actually coming up.
That is so cool because that is that is like my wheels just start turning because I connect to Mother Earth. Like everything I do is in Mother Earth. My planting, my intuition, my healing, I pull from Mother Earth. And I pull from beneath me, the ground. So that's like, I like that. Like it goes up and then, I got chills again.
Now think about this, because as you're saying that, I'm thinking, okay, all of us are doing that, right?
Yeah.
The ones of us who really feel connected with Earth.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're all connected. We're here. So we're connected. But the ones when we're tapping in, that energy's coming up. And then it creates this collective consciousness, the ether. So what if what we really think we're pulling down isn't necessarily the divine energy of God per se, but God in all of us, in our own fractals of, our own perceptions of it, and then it comes back down, and it has to, because energy doesn't just go up and down. I'm a shamanic tantra, so we talk about the circuits that go through our body all the time. So that energy goes up, we get a ding, it goes out there. The internet is a perfect example of that because everything's just been here before. Nothing's new, right? We know that the internet is an ancient energy that is beyond man-made technology. We have spiritual technology. So it goes up, and then we bring it back down, and now we're processing these ideas. Again, it's going down. We share the idea. Somebody says something. We check our heart about it. I don't know how I feel about that. It goes down, and then it goes back down into the earth. So there's this constant,
It's like a full circle. But just going back down. That is so cool. I like the way that you think. I never thought to look up the words.
Oh yeah,
like,
I get told to look it up.
I'm gonna like sit there and now I'm gonna like Google like, or I'm gonna look up the word spirit and all that stuff. Like all the words that I use, I'm gonna be like, hey, wait a second, I want to look and see.
So remember we were talking about what I said about how spiritual gifts can be these subtle things.
Yeah.
In my human design, it literally says you're a wordsmith, and I was like, that makes sense. I was the kid that looked up the thesaurus for fun.
Yeah.
I was the kid that would sit with the dictionary and like try to find different words.
Yeah.
I write poetry, like words, books. I do a lot of bibliomancy, which if anyone doesn't know what that means, it's literally you feel called to a book, you open that book, and what is there is for you. So it could be a meditation book. It could be any kind of book. I really don't finish books because this is how I usually process things. I have so many books. I love books, but I'll usually be thinking of something that's like, go grab that book. It never makes sense. The title doesn't seem like it matches. Yeah. But I'll grab it, I open it, and I get exactly what I need. So it's one of my spiritual gifts to work with the energy of words and break down words. And I just thought I was just a nerd. I am, but I didn't realize it's a spirit, like spiritual technology. That's how spirit speaks to me. A lot of things come, and it's usually a confirmation. So I've already been processing something. I'm getting the dreams. I'm getting the downloads. I go to a book, and I'm like, how did they know?
Because they know.
So it confirms that what I'm receiving. So yeah.
I can see like all I see is like you opening up like the Akashic records and just be like speed reading through it. Like
that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's like I don't got time. I believe I decided this lifetime, like I don't got time to be sitting for hours reading one whole text. Like, but I've read a little bit of everything. And it's because I end up going back, and you go back to, there's in the Bible, because I was raised Christian, it says that the Bible is a living, active word, right? And I was in that framework of thought. I thought it was just the Bible. I'm realizing it's all living and active. These words, they are energy. Yeah. What a word means and how you say it changes everything. I could say, oh, Brie, I hate you. Because you made me, you like embarrassed me about it. So, you know, and I don't like to say that phrase, but people say it. And people don't take it seriously because they're like, oh, they're jokingly saying it. And then there's, I hate you. You know, it's the tone, it's the context, it's the word itself has its own like weight that it carries. There's power. There's literally power of life and death in our tongues. So I think that's one of the like frameworks that I've come to work with here is just understanding that and helping people even reframe how they speak about things. Earlier you were talking about how would I help somebody as they're going through their dark night of the soul or the underworld. It's about how you look at it. Is this an obstacle or is it a challenge? Like, are you going to rise to the challenge? Like, so you thought you just were going to, you want all these things. You want to ascend, you want to grow, you want to heal, and you weren't going to have to, like, face some things? Yeah. You're just getting what you asked for. You got this.
You got this. But I see that with, like, healers. Like, I have a strong belief that if you're going to be a healer, a reader, whatever it is that you're wanting to do, you need to go through that stuff. Like, you need to do that healing. And I've seen it with you. Like, you work on yourself constantly and you're always doing the healing. But I think, like, when you don't do that healing, you're stuck at this perception. And it's just right here. But when you do something like that, like, you can walk into the underworld and be like, hey, sup? Like, I walk in shadows all the time.
Can't tell you nothing when you face your...
Oh, no. Like, when you face your shadows, let me tell you.
What you gonna tell me about myself that I don't know?
Exactly.
And I can tell you why. And I can tell you what I've been doing to work on that. Thank you very much.
Yes.
It hurts when you don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody points out something and it's like, oh. Or you reject it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not like that.
Or you get triggered by it. Like, yeah.
Like, I have that. Sometimes I'm working through it. I'm human.
That actually happened to me this morning. I got triggered by my step grandma. She said something and I sat there for a minute and I wanted to respond and I was like, but I'm getting triggered. Where is this wound in me? What is this that's coming up? And it was like a safety wound, like, or not a safety, it was a smart wound. Like, you are not smart. And I'm like, listen. Like, and of course I still want to be like, listen, but I was like, let's work on this for a minute. Let's dive into this.
I just sent my brother a meme that I have found with Ice Cube, and he's like, you know, it's gonna be a good day. It's some, but what it said above it was like, got triggered, instead of reflecting on that other person, processed it, responded emotionally regulated. It was like, it's a good day. And I was like, yes, that's it right there, because it will happen.
Oh yeah.
Like, I honestly believe we are here to trigger each other.
Yes.
Particularly in close relationships, those people are exact. Like, if you look at the astrology synastry of people's charts, it's mind-blowing. Like, that's literally, it's given me so much closure on the things that needed to end, the relationships that had expired, because it's like, oh, you were literally here to bring all that up, you did your part, thank you, and I can release you. We were never gonna be forever. Like,
we were never
like,
gonna
it's
be
in
best
the
friends forever. It's written in the stars. It's a contract. We're done with
and thank you for fulfilling your part. That part too. Like, thank you for doing your job. I see you. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I like that, because I have I've had friendships that just like imploded, and I'm like, but why? And I'll hear like, oh well, you've learned your lesson, you know, or that saying that people like, you know, God heard people talking behind doors, so he moved, you know. And it's true. Like, the universe has worked in just wonderful ways. Brought wonderful people into my life. Took out like some that were not that good, you know. And I think I saw on Facebook, you know, you talking about the meme. It brought up something that I saw on Facebook, and this person was really coming at spiritual people. Like, she was like, they're fake. Like, it's a cult. And like I said, if you don't do the work, like, you're just perceiving from right here. See, now he loves me.
He loves me now.
He thought that it was her daughter, and then he was mad. He was like,
I know. I think he gets a little like, hold on.
You're not who I think you are. He misses her. But in this meme, like, she was talking like the red flags of healers.
Okay.
And then all these people were coming, and you had also mentioned, you know, you had a Christian background. So, like, that religious, like, persecution was coming through and all this stuff. And as we are opening up to more spirituality, like, how do you feel, like, as that? Because I noticed, like, a lot of people are opening up spiritually, but then you still have, like, people putting up memes, like, you know, this is a cult, this is fake. And at first I was looking at the comments, and I'm like, why am I scrolling through these comments? Because this is not like...
it's just the sociologist in me, because I've been doing it too. I'm like, I just like to know how, like, people think. But then I'm like, is this even helpful? Right. Does it even matter? There's a couple things to that. So, we just were talking about triggers, right?
Yes.
They're doing their job.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you're getting triggered, then maybe you are some of what they're saying. Maybe you're not being authentic, and you know that, and you're like, I'm just trying to think of an example. Like, I tell people they should practice yoga every morning, and I don't. Am I fake? And that's here, and you're not saying that, or you might not even see that, but you're automatically like, sometimes things happen in life, and now you can't help that, and all of that's coming out. You may not say that, but that's the energetic exchange that's really happening. So it's like, first of all, when we're being triggered by people who don't know us at all, don't know us physically, don't know us emotionally, mentally, spiritually, like, you don't know me. You're just this ghost. Why am I being so triggered? That would be the first thing about these online trolls, or whatever you want to call it. Secondly, something that came up in my conversation. See, my brother helped me so much. Shout out, bro. Thanks. Because,
I hope he's watching
that conversation,
this, so he knows. Like, so he can be like,
has brought up a lot of things that we're talking about today. So, the other piece of that, and what I'm loving about what is happening as we move into more of this Aquarian energy, is that spirit and science are reuniting.
I know, I love it.
They broke up for a little bit. They were listening to the lies. They were letting people talk, break them up. And they're like, no, we are one. You are my soulmate.
Yes.
I love you, baby. Let's figure this out. And so what me and my brother were like, what came up in that conversation was, so Pisces, we're moving from Pisces to Aries. We have, when it comes to Saturn and, I want to say Neptune. Yes. Yeah. And so this energy of Pisces, I'm a Pisces rising and moon, so I'm very familiar. This energy of being the dreamer, being the believer, just having faith. I just know that there's more. I don't need to see. I don't need proof. I know in my heart.
Yeah.
That energy is an opener.
Yes.
And so it's made room for, like you said, a greater acceptance of a lot of these spiritual concepts. Like, it's normal now to hear about manifestation.
Yeah.
Me and my brother were talking about this 10 years ago, and we felt so alone.
Right.
There was no talk about this online. You had to kind of be in your groups. So I look at it as that Pisces energy, which would be, even if you don't have Pisces placements, that mystic energy, that dreamer, that healer, that oracle, whatever words you want to put on it, that spiritual just openness, that paved the way. But there are scientific studies that are backing up everything our ancestors told us.
Yep.
Everything that we were like, I know. Like, I watched my grandma was an herbalist.
Yeah.
I didn't need to go to school to learn it, but I did go to school. You know why? Because it's important for me to have that backing when I'm speaking to my clients.
Yeah.
I can't just go based off, well, you should trust me because my ancestor was an herbalist.
Right.
She was a medicine woman. I got this. Like, yeah, I honor all of that. I do. But I went to a science school and got a degree so I could understand how it works, why it works.
Well, and I think that's still important too. Like, we're learning, and there's so many, like, just so many ways to learn different things. Like, you and I took different shamanic classes. You know, I went through my shaman, who went through like hers, who went through the four winds through Alberto Vallado, and that's my lineage. But yours is completely different, but it's still beautiful. We still learned, and we're still come together, and we're still healing. And then, you know, like, even with Reiki, but I agree, I continue to learn, because those certificates, at least, people like proof.
Yeah.
They like proof.
It helps.
Yeah. So at least I can be like, here's my certificate that says shaman practitioner. There you have it.
I invested the time and the energy. I really dedicated to this. Yeah.
But I think that's important too, though. Like you said, you invested the time and energy. I think it's important to do that. You know.
I told my brother yesterday that, so we had our spiritual awakening. It's time for a scientific awakening.
Ooh.
I've been seeing a lot of stuff lately about, and it's so funny. I'm like, yeah, we already knew this. Like, this is the things I've been learning about, like, the heart being electromagnetic.
Yeah.
There was this post that was going around about that. And there's buzz of, you know, like I said, the stem cells with the placenta, and that a lot of these health things that people thought were just trendy, there's a purpose behind it, and there is some merit to, like, we need to kind of be more mindful with how we eat. Some people take it too far, which is why the scientific minds are welcome and needed as well. And I think that just as much as, and I hate even trying to talk about them in this dual way, but because of the framing of our conversation, I am. But when we think about the spiritual community, there's also just as much not disrespect on the other side.
Yes.
We don't need that. We know already. We know in our hearts. We don't need your proof. You can take you and your scientific bull and go. It's like, no. Because I get excited when I'm like, there it is. When I was like so excited going through school and doing and I'm like, I knew this, but, and I would just show my wife all the time, like, babe, remember? Yeah. This is the proof. And it's just, I think that we're going to have a scientific. I hear
her going, yes, I know, babe. Like yes,
okay. I don't know exactly what you're saying, but I love that you love it.
Right? She's so supportive. I love it.
She is. But yeah, I think we're going to have a scientific awakening with this Pluto and Aquarius energy. I think it's making us face our fears around technology, our fears around scientific advancement, our fears around the mind, our fears around sharing ideas. That's Aquarius as well. Our fears about working together, so the spiritual community and the scientific coming together. Because Aquarius is also the humanitarian, and people forget that. It's they're detached and they just think a lot and they're serious. It's like, but they care. Yeah. But they also are balanced in that. And so because there's that care, they also go, okay, let me step back though and make sure, because I care, what's the best thing to do here for everyone?
Well, we have to, I'm an Aquarius sun, so I have to, like, there's that constant battle between, like, the logic and the spiritual that goes on within me, and I have to have, like, that balance. If one's more unbalanced than the other, like, I lived for a while in a too far up in the spiritual realm. And then eventually Spirit was like, you need to come down for a minute, because you're all the way up here and all this logic stuff is happening that it's, you know, it's going to end up with a kaboom. Yeah. And so I had to come back down and I had to sit there and I had to balance the two. So it's just like you said with the science, like, you need to balance it. There's got to be the light and the dark has to balance. the yin and the yang. It all needs to be a balance, you know?
And I'd say that's part of what the shamanic path is, because I think that word, you know, again, words have so much weight.
Yes.
Words have connotation. When I'm talking about the shamanic realm or being a shaman or being a shamanic practitioner, I think the difference, or if there was any differentiation, which honestly it doesn't really seem to be. Like, I don't care what words people use. Oracle, seer, prophet, like it's all the same. But anyway,
you're doing energy work. Okay?
You're tapped in.
Yeah.
But I think when I think of shaman and that practice and that path, to me that's about understanding that there's different realms and being able to travel to the different realms.
Yeah. And
so a common feature that I see with other shamans is that yes, there was a time when you're all heady.
Yeah.
And then you're brought to that underworld, because the underworld isn't just like the depression and darkness. It's also like, let's get to the roots and figure out like the foundations of your life and what you're really trying to do and build something tangible.
Yes.
And that's that middle plane. So we have that underworld, we have that upper realm, and then we have that middle realm. Yeah. And so being able to travel as we need to get what we need so that we can actually practically live it out, our spiritual path. And by doing that, we teach others. By doing that, we are a witness to, and being able to guide others and all of that. But it really is about that. Like, I feel like the imbalance is like part of the deal that you get when you sign up for the shaman package. It's like you kind of have to, because how else would you? Humans are creatures of comfort. If we didn't get to anything, we wouldn't move. So you get to an underworld and you're like, I'm kind of tired of being depressed. I've gotten way too serious. I haven't been dealing like socializing with people. I really need to come out and be back in the land of the living. And then there's times where you're just like, oh, and downloads and that, but are you doing anything with it?
What are you doing with those downloads? Like,
and that's where that Saturn and Pisces energy that we just came through was bringing. It was like, put it into work, make it practical. What are you actually? How are you going to use all these spiritual things to make the world that we live in with our physical bodies better? Yeah. Now we're in Saturn and Aries, so we thought about it. We brought heaven to earth. We got some good ideas about how we're going to do it. Get to work. Saturn not playing with us.
The universe is like, yeah, we're done now. Let's go.
So that ties right back into what you were saying about like, where are we going with that, and why is there that divide? Because there's a pressure on us to put our spiritual things into practical form. Well, and part of that will be science.
Yeah. There's so much change happening, and just so much, and we see it everywhere, you know. And I think something beautiful is going to come out of it. I really do. Yeah. I think that we're finding ourselves, and that's what you do in shadow work. That's what you do, is you know, in that darkness, and now in those realms, is you find who you are. I can remember one time I was deep in shadow healing, like I think like last year, and I was sitting there, and one of my guides said, go look in the mirror. Okay. And I was like, why? And they're like, you need to go look in the mirror.
Work is so powerful.
Yeah, right? And I went and looked in the mirror, and they're like, what do you see? And I was like, I don't know. Like, you know, like, I'm thinking logically.
What am I looking for?
Right? Like, they're like, stopping logic for a minute. Like, we get that we told you had to be your logic, but now you balanced it. Now start thinking, and I was like, I see me. I see my eyes. And they're like, okay, what else do you see? And I was like, a mom. And like all these things just started coming out. Now all of a sudden my tears were coming out, and like I was like coughing, and like all these things. And what they really wanted me to see was me. Yeah. Who are you? You know, and that's what you do in all of that. And I think as a collective, we're learning who we are. And what does that mean going forward, you know? Yep. All that, like, just all these little sprinkles of healing.
Because Aries is about the self. Yeah. It's that first sign. So with this Aries activation that we're going through, it really is going to be like, figure out the part you play. That's what keeps coming up for me. It's like, okay, there's a really big puzzle here, right? And there's so many moving pieces, and people get really stuck on like, this is the subject or the topic or the issue that needs to be addressed. Don't you all see it? This is the main issue. And it's like, there's a lot of issues, and I think we need to give each other grace and space to figure out what part we play, and to have acceptance that everybody's part's not going to look the same. Yes. And honestly, that's for the better of all. Because there's a lot of work to cover here. There's a lot of ground to cover. And so we need everybody to really be authentically here for what they're here for, because we all came with a purpose and a plan. Yeah. And like, carry out your missions, but your mission, not the mission that your parents passed down to you, not the mission your friends or your social group says is important. Like, what are you here to do, and how do you do it? Being okay, being unique.
Yeah.
Okay, being original. Okay, being the first one to do something. Because Aries is the trailblazer. It's the first. It doesn't like, it doesn't care what's been done. It's about a new thing. It's springtime, right?
Yeah.
So we are in the springtime, and it may not look all beautiful, blooming, flowers, but let's remember that there's so many different kinds of things that bloom.
Yeah.
Because here in Arizona, there's a lot of pokey things that are beautiful.
Yes, that is true. Yeah.
They're dangerous and they're scary, and it's like, don't touch it. But there's some, And I think that's part of what's happening. We're seeing some thorns. We're seeing some weeds. Not everything that grows is edible. Not everything that grows smells good. There's some stinky plants.
Yeah.
That's their defense mechanism to keep themselves safe. So I mean, I think that we just have to honor that in the springtime, it's all coming up to the surface. Everything that's been in the
all those seeds that we planted, all that stuff, all the weeding and the clearing out,
the underworld,
all getting to grow. Yeah,
the things we didn't see.
No, and there's gonna be those battles. Like, people are gonna fight it, because that's just what they're destined to do. Like, somebody told me one time, not everybody's supposed to wake up.
That's a hard one. That's a really hard one.
Yeah, because I
want everybody to come together, kumbaya, be like, be better. Let's do better.
Let's just hold hands and sing, and But when they told me that, like, it was heartbreaking for me. Because it had to do with my mom,
Why did I know you was gonna go there? See, because in my mind I'm thinking sometimes it's family.
Yep. And because I was like, why can't she just, And they're like, because not everybody's supposed to. Not everybody is me. Right. Not everybody has the same gifts. Not everybody walks through shadows. Not everybody goes down into the underworld. Not everybody,
And people wake up at different variances, right? Like, I know I'm a person that needs time. Yeah. Like, I get up, but then I'm not up. Yeah. Like, don't talk to me. Don't expect anything of me. I'm here.
I could see that.
Give me a minute.
Yeah.
And then there's people, they wake up and they go.
Yeah.
So it's like also like realizing everybody's awakening isn't gonna be at the same depth or the same. Like, it's not gonna look the same. You don't know what they came with in this time. You don't know what they did last lifetime. This maybe for them you think it's not a big deal because our ego gets in there like, why don't you understand, like, the important things is to be focused on. And they're like, I really just came to get my finances in order because last lifetime I really sucked at that. Right. So me actually committing to a job and actually having my things in order, this is spiritual for me. Yeah. See, because we try to separate, and that's what I'm talking about.
Not everything is going to make sense, but that's a very good point. Like, I have clients that they have the 9-to-5 jobs, and they're like, well, should I quit it? I'm like, no, because you're spiritual. What are you doing at that job? Yeah. Well, I get to do this, and I'm like, I have a client that's a nurse. I'm like, you do a lot of spiritual work, girl. Like, I'm like, you do a lot because you work with those clients and you're healing and you're constantly doing stuff.
So especially if you're able to maintain it as a career, because the burnout is real in that industry. So if you're able to maintain it, like, you are doing spiritual work because you're having to constantly clear your energy, show up and be present and be like brand new for every person. You're not giving them the yuck from all the other situations that's spiritual. Yeah. That is like, we have to stop compartmentalizing it. We are all spiritual beings living this physical realm. Some of us have a greater understanding or understanding of what we're doing, like what's happening, but we're all spiritual.
Yeah. Like, I think your wife is a good example of this too, because she may not do like spiritual things, but she works with animals. And I can see it with her, like just what she's done with your guys' dog that you have. Like, I can see the healing that she does with them. Yep. Like, every time Elliot sees her, he gets all excited. It's not like with you where he's like, wait, are you... Right. Wait, no, you're not her.
I love animals, but I don't have that gift. She's I've told her since I met her, you're an animal whisperer. Yeah. And, she doesn't like the labels and stuff, but I'm like, I see it so clear. He had cancer, our dog. Yeah. So we literally rehabilitated him. He's cancer-free. He's a lot more sociable. Yeah. Like, he was very guarded and scared of the world, and he's more confident. And that I tell her all the time, like, look what you did. Like,
that's big.
Yeah, this is, and her ultimate goal is to have a rescue. So to be able to do that on a greater scale, that is ministry. Yeah. Like, sometimes our ministry isn't this, like, having a temple, having a church, having a spiritual business. Sometimes our ministry is we boot up and we go to that hospital every day, like you said, or we hospice, dealing with helping people cross over. They may not think of themselves as like mediums, or things like that. But in reality, if you're doing that work, you definitely
That's
have got to have
Yeah.
some strong, energy with you and protection with you, because everybody can't do that.
That was actually my first job, was in hospice. I was a CNA.
Okay.
And that was the first time I realized I wasn't seeing things, because like I could always see from the time I was little.
Yeah.
Like I always saw like dead people. I scared people. I had to go to therapy and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Like, but I remember this old man I used to take care of, and like he was a good sleeper. Like he never woke up in the middle of the night. But I saw a guy leave his room and go across, and then turn on the call light in the room across from him. And I went in that room, and there was nobody in there. But then when I went into the other guy's room, all of a sudden the window was open, and I was like, he's dead. That was him literally walking over, hitting the call light to say, I passed away. Come over. And I was like, but how did your window get open? Like, why in the world, dude? And that was the first time, like, I came out and I told the nurse, and I even told her that I saw somebody, like, before I went down there, and she goes, oh, like,
there's no way that can.
Yeah.
Or she said it did?
Yeah, she's like, that happens all the time. Like, that's just, like, that's normal and all this jazz. And then when I came out, I was like, he's dead. And she goes, you saw him? Like, and that was, like, the first time I realized, I was like, I am seeing dead people. Like, I call them, like, angels now, and, like, it's, like, an angel medium now and stuff like that. But, like, at that time, I was like, I see dead people. I was like, oh, my God. And I was scared of my gift. I was so terrified by what I was seeing that I shut it down.
So you got accepted for this job,
yes.
so that you can,
yep.
And that's spiritual. Like,
yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah. If somebody came to you though, and they said, like, I have all these gifts, and then they but they're shutting it down, what guidance would you give them?
How's that working for you?
So true, because I got a DUI 2 weeks after that. So I get that is so
like
true.
Running from it's cute and all, but at some point you're gonna have to face yourself. Like you said, face yourself, and just like allow it to unravel.
Yeah.
Like don't be so quick to try to name it, claim it, figure it out. Don't listen to also what like everybody says, but more like become a detective. Get curious. That's like my go-to. Like get curious.
Yes.
Because my curiosity has led me some amazing places. And so I just start tracking things. I start journaling it. I had this dream. I had this experience with this person, and they responded like that. And I don't know if everybody has these kind of experiences, but I just started like journaling those kind of things. Yeah. And then you get enough of your own evidence that you're like, oh, like I said that, oh my gosh, how many times have I looked at old journals from like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years? It's crazy. Yeah. When you can see it for yourself in black and white, it's like, okay, I can't deny this. I literally was talking about this. Sometimes I'll think something's new. My wife's so over it. She's over it. I'll be like, babe, so I had this download. She's like, yep. Yeah. And because often I've already told her that. Like 5 years ago, maybe. Yeah. But I didn't have the layer. There's layers. I didn't have the new information. So it's like it's expanding. Yeah. And it's growing. And because so many other things are happening and coming in for me all the time, I'm thinking this is some new stuff. Only to realize it's just a new layer of something that was already, like I said in the beginning, we're constantly remembering. Yes. It's all just a remembrance. And if you trace it back, but the only person that can do that work is you. So trace it. Yeah. Start writing it. Voice record yourself. That helps so much.
That actually is a very good point, because I have all these recordings on my phone that I could go back to, and I'm like, I downloaded that like 6 years ago. Like, like back when I was in my 20s. Like, what the heck?
And it's something powerful about hearing your truth in your voice. Yeah. It's that resonance. It's sound therapy, really. Yeah. When you hear, because in that moment when you're recording it, I really prefer the recorded than the writing, but I know that there's also power in written word and stuff, so both are tools. But when you record something and you're in the feeling of it, and you're like, oh my God, so this thing just happened, and I don't know, and da-da-da-da, and then you go back from a detached place now, and you re-listen, you are picking up on the frequency, the way you would pick up on a conversation with a friend. Now you're listening to yourself, you're becoming the observer, and you're not so in it, and it's easier to go, oh, and sometimes sometimes even when I'm recording, I'll be like, this might sound crazy, but this is just, I'm just going to say it like it is. This is what happened, you know?
Yep.
And when you go back, you don't actually sound so crazy because you're like, oh. And then now you might have more of your own proof. And, you know, so I would just say trace it. The only person, you have to be a detective. I look at all of the tools like numerology, astrology, human design. All of these are just tools that get me back to my blueprint because we all have one. Yeah. And when you start tracing it, like, it just gets clearer and clearer and undeniable. There are things that I'm like, got it. Yep, that's my life path, or that's my, you know, you can always trace it. So just get curious.
And I also think, like, if you're meant to do this or you're meant to do something, you're gonna come back to it. You know, shortly after that, like I said, I got my DUI, and then I went through my own spiritual awakening because I was so mad at myself. I was so pissed off at myself. I couldn't leave. Like, I was frozen. I couldn't even leave my house. Dang. And I was like, now looking back, I'm like, oh, it's just a DUI. Like, I made it through. I don't do it anymore. Like, I learned my lesson. But then it was such a big
Put yourself
thing.
in timeout is what it sounds like.
I was like, nope, I'm not leaving. But it's where, like, I started doing Reiki, and I started learning that I've done tarot since I was 16, and I brought my tarot cards back out, and I started, like, because I needed something, and I feel like that's where people come to spirituality. They need something, and I needed something in that moment, that meditation and my tarot cards and Reiki, and at that time that psychic medium that I had met could provide for me, you know, which eventually led to moving to South Carolina, meeting my shaman, going through my own, like, shamanic classes, and then coming here, meeting you, having Everly, you know, all the fun stuff. Yeah.
And I want to say, like, so it sounds like a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is our life, so we're like, all you gotta do is go figure it out.
Good luck.
And that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Like, because we were so driven to figure it out for ourselves, we have some shortcuts now. Yeah. We can say, oh, and it will send you down a hole, because I'm not going to do the work for you. Yes. But I'm a good dot connector. Yeah. Like, I'm able to weave some, I'm like, okay, here's what I'm seeing. Yeah. And then you take that and you run with it. Yeah. And if you need to meet back up with me and process what you found, let's do that. But it's just about, there's so many tools to use, it can be overwhelming. And it's a whole new language. Like, when you're learning astrology, you're learning numerology, it's a different language. And so just giving that, you know, being able to have a new framework to work with. And there's so many different types. Yeah. Like, I just believe they're all different languages about the same thing. Yeah. Right? We can look at it from a psychological perspective. We can look at it from, you know, and so that's what we're here for, is just to be that guide to say, maybe you should look over there. I'm not telling you that's exactly where you're going to find. I don't know what you're going to find there. But that's a place I looked at. Had some cool stuff. You might want to check it out. Might want to check out that Venus. Yeah. You keep telling me about relationship issues. You might want to check out your Venus.
You might want to see where your Venus is placed in your chart. Yeah. You know? Mine has Capricorn. I have a lot of Capricorn. I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense.
I'm Aries.
Ooh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, when I went down that rabbit hole, I was like, okay, my whole life literally makes sense.
The puzzle pieces. Yeah. And that's just, you're putting those pieces together. You're just finding pieces here and there. Like, when I do soul retrievals with clients, we're just finding those pieces. We're calling them home. Come on. You know, and sometimes I'm like, come on. It's okay. Yeah. Come on. Not you, buddy. But come on.
Right. You can stay over there.
Right. Exactly. Like, you know. And the last piece I want to, and for some reason this is coming up, that I just want to tap into for a second is, I've had clients that have been afraid of dark magic. And it's not something I personally prescribe to, because I'm like, you know, your intentions, you're more powerful than that darkness. But, like, I want to kind of tap into that and what it brings up for you when people are like, well, dark magic, or I've got, like, lots of attachments and all that. I can see your wheels.
You want to go there? That's a whole different podcast.
Oh, maybe we'll have to do another one. So we'll tap on it for a second, and then we're going to do another podcast, probably.
Okay. So I do want to start out with saying that as a melanated woman, when everything that's dark is bad, I've had to really look at that for my own shadow work purposes. And right there, words have connotation and weight. I think is where you start. Like, what does a word even mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times when people are saying it's dark magic, like, but what do you mean?
Yeah.
Because there is a time in life where you need to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There is a time in life where you need to set a boundary.
Mm-hmm.
And so when done with the right intent, and I don't even like to use the word right, but with a certain intent, I don't see a problem with said. I've had to do that as a mother bear. I've definitely had to do what some people might call dark magic.
Yeah.
You're not gonna mess with my babies.
Yeah.
Stay away.
Mm-hmm.
You are restricted from our energy, and whatever happens to you outside of the blessings that happens in our sphere, you can deal with on your own, because you do not have the protection that comes with being a friend of mine or being a close family member of mine. Because there's a certain level of protection, because I care about my people.
Yeah.
But when you step outside of that, it's above me.
Yeah.
It's not me doing anything to you. It's me removing my grace from you. And there's a difference. Mm-hmm. I don't see any problem with that. I have no issue with self-preservation is the first law of nature. Mm-hmm. So I think sometimes it's like going back to like this whole spirituality thing. We think spirituality means being nice and being a pushover and being a people pleaser. And so anytime someone else has the audacity to stand up for themselves, they're evil.
Yes.
How dare you tell a person that they can go to? Yes, you can. If that's where you came from, you can go back there because you brought nothing but that to my life. Mm-hmm. So I'm just releasing you back from where you came because that's not welcome here.
Yeah.
Now I hope that you get the lessons that you need, that you can alchemize and be better. Mm-hmm. But that's not my choice. I got my own life to worry about. I'm not trying to fix, manage, and control you. So you might F around and find out there and like. So there's that.
And I feel in those cases too, like for me, I'm like love and awareness, honey. Love
and
awareness. There you go. Love and awareness.
Or have the day you deserve, the day you've earned for yourself.
Yeah.
Because in that, there's going to be what you need to get to the next level in your life. So if you're going around being crappy to people and you get some back, I'm not going to take that from you. That's what you've, asked for life to show up for you. And I don't know why that is. And that's not my job to judge or try to figure it out. I need to worry about myself. And I need to also not cling on to the energy that's, of whatever transaction or whatever has happened that I'm not okay with, that doesn't feel good with me. I have a right to cut that and clear it, But yes, there are definitely people who especially the guise of being spiritual and holier, that use their awareness of spiritual principles and universal law to hurt people. Yeah. And I always just look at it and think about it as a tool. Power is just power. Yeah. Power is not good. Power is not bad. Power is power.
It's neutral.
A tool is a tool. It can be used to harm or hurt. Yeah. If I take a hammer and use it for a nail to put in wood, I can build some really beautiful things. Yeah. That same hammer can be crushed on someone's skull and literally kill them. The hammer is not what's wrong here.
Yes.
It's who was wielding it and what their intention was. So I don't really prescribe to like you said, that I get the need to like reference it because people do harmful things to people. But as far as when it comes to magic, even just saying dark magic or black magic versus people just do messed up stuff, I think. Yeah. Whether they're being magical or not isn't even the issue. Like there's people that do messed up stuff that isn't necessarily magical, and that's just as evil to me or sinful or whatever as people who are aware of those principles. Like, so I think sometimes it can just be used to demonize spirituality. And so I try to be really careful about that, because there's people doing evil things that they don't even realize because they haven't done the shadow work. Because magic is going to do its thing with or without us. Yeah. So you could be projecting your jealousy onto someone, and some people call that the evil eye. That's magic. You might not even know about that. Yeah. But you're still doing it. We're all spiritual beings. We're all working our magic. We're all bending the energy around us to our will all the time. So just be very clear on your intent and what you're doing, and kind of leave other people to their path, because some people need to go down those, when like you said, shadow work is necessary. Yes. And as they do that, they may find themselves going, oh wait, so I had all these people hurt me when I was younger, and now I know that I can do this stuff to get back at them. They may need to go down that journey and figure out how that lands for them, and then come back. People have to go on their own journey. I just know that it is definitely real, and it's definitely a slippery slope there, but we live in a place of duality, so.
It is, and it's hard sometimes, because like I've seen it personally, where I'm just like, but you're doing it like to yourself. But I also agree, like there are moments like, you know, I recently had to cut ties and protect my daughter. And I was like, so I cut all those cords and I sent them back with love. And then I just put this huge shield over her. And I was like, you cannot touch her. You cannot come to her. And somebody was like, she's doing dark magic. She put a hex on me. And I was like,
oh my goodness.
Because I protected my daughter, you know? And I was like, no. When she gets older and she's in tune with her own gifts, if she wants to take that shield down and she wants to work with it, or she wants to reach out to that person, that's up to her. But as Mama Bear, I'm gonna put that shield over her so she can be a child.
That's our job. We have to protect what we care about. Like, we can't just be like, so I have a pure heart, so everyone else does. That's gonna get you messed up out here.
We have prisons.
We have to be integrated.
Show that that's not true.
Right. Yeah.
But and like I said, there is that balance though still between the dark and the light. So like you said, there are people that have to go down that path.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And they chose to go down that path before they were born. Is, you know, I mean, I have family members who I'm just like, but why? You know, and then Spirit's like, but why you? And I'm like, okay, like, but why are you questioning it? What they say when you pointing one finger,
right?
Like, but like, cause like I'm terrified of alcohol because of my mom, you know. But Spirit's like, but a glass of wine's not gonna hurt you in moderation. But where if you're like constantly drinking every night, it's gonna hurt you.
I think we should have a conversation about that, because that's what's really coming up with my ministry work. Is from addiction to sovereignty, because that's part of my journey as well, and just helping to reframe how we even look at addiction. And as someone who's done the 12 steps groups and all that, and now I don't feel the need to do that, and just kind of my journey with that, it's really coming up that we need some new frameworks, some new, especially with the spiritual community and things like that, around what addiction even is. And so I think we should definitely have a deeper conversation about that. But that's what always happens, right? We try to question somebody else, and it's always flipped right back to us. And if it's not, then something's, might want to look at that. Why is your energy always projected out to others? Most of the time when I do that, I get the same type of thing. It's like, but what about you?
But what are you doing? And I'm like, listen here. I have one guy in particular, I have to bring this up for a minute, but he is my come to Jesus sassy. And every time I connect with my shaman, she goes, he is always here. And so like, I'm like really afraid about something in particular that I'm going through right now in my life. And she's like, well, he's saying like the worst case scenario, right? Like she literally pulls it out. She's like, well, this is what could happen to you. Like, for a long speech, you could be homeless. And I was like, why are you saying that? She goes, because he just said it. He's like, but you're looking at this when you just need to look at this, right? Like, just what's in you and what you're doing. She's like, really, are you going to be homeless? I'm like, no. You know, like,
that's actually a really powerful exercise. That's one that I use with people. It's like to play the tape forward, and if you literally energetically face the fear, like say it out loud, say that thing. Say that thing. I've been having to deal with it like on a deeper level of like losing a loved one to addiction, like death, jails, institutions, and death. It doesn't end anywhere well when you're going down that road, and I'm like, been trying to prepare myself, but not like will it up or like, but at least look at it, because a part of me is like, we're just not gonna do that, and it's like, but what if it happened? Because there's that story that if I don't address it, there's a story that goes, if I lost that person, I don't know if I could make it, and that's not true. And if I don't address it now, to me it's empowering me, because I'm addressing it now and facing it now, so that I'm ready for whatever. But you know what? Because I've faced it, I also have more energy to put towards a greater outcome. And I realized I was wasting so much energy trying not to look at the thing. And now that it's named, it's like I actually have a peace about it. And it's sad to have to say that, but we live in this world where, you know, we are not promised to be protected, even on this spiritual path, from hardships and things like that. And so I actually consider that to be one of the tools I use with clients, what your guy was doing with you, to say, okay, so what's the worst that could happen? And a lot of times, like, when you just like face it, it's like, okay, but like, what would you do? Like, oh, well, I guess it would suck, but I guess I do this and this and that. Okay. So you're fine. And it kind of like pulls you back. You're like, okay, I guess it's not that big of a deal. All right, fine. Like,
And my Aquarius likes to make things bigger than they actually are. That Aquarius side,
see
she's
all the
like,
angles.
ooh, yeah. And that's exactly, and she pulled me back in, and she's like, here you are. And I'm like, oh, I guess it's not that big of a deal. Okay, fine.
Most things aren't that big of a deal.
Right? They really are.
Like, we're here, we're living.
Mm-hmm.
My mom always says, as long as you have breath, you have hope.
Oh,
You know, like you're alive. What's the problem? You are being given the opportunity to work through this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not over.
Yeah, it's not. Life's not over. So I want you guys to know that I'm gonna bring Phoenix on again, because we obviously still have way more to talk about. But we could be here for like 2 hours, and then you guys will be like, oh, like, you know. And one of the things I want to do is maybe try and pull her in to do a live over on the TikToks or Facebook or something, so you guys can come find us there one of these days. But to honor your time, I just want you to like just let them know like where they can find you, any services, just whatever's coming up for you.
So I do a lot of things, but I do astrology consultations. I definitely am available for the womb sauna session, sitting with women locally if you're in Arizona, sitting with women over a pot of herbs and just really getting into what your womb wants to speak to you. And then, like I said, the astrology and just spiritual consultation. I'm a life coach. I have a lot of life experiences, and I haven't met anybody yet that I haven't been able to offer something to. So I just like to leave myself open for if you need a listening ear and you need some advice. I know that the world is a crazy place right now, that I'm here. And if you resonate with my energy, please reach out. I'm on Facebook, Priestess Pheonyx Azula. On Instagram, I think I said those mismatched, but Pheonyx Azula on Facebook and Priestess Pheonyx on Instagram. I will give you my links for my booking information because it's a little bit of a longer name, but my business name is The Holistic Phoenix, and then I also have a ministry, The Blue Flame Insight. So
I like that name. But I will put all of the links down below for you guys, and then you guys can go and find her, because I'm telling you guys, she's an amazing person. I've watched you just blossom into this wonderful spiritual lady that I know you're going to do so much. You're going to help so many people. I know that your gifts are definitely coming out for a reason. So
thank you for
being here. And I'm so honored. Thank you.
We get to go celebrate my baby's baby.
Yes,
later.
We're going to go to a baby shower
later. This is real life.
So
this is my girl.
Like, I'm so excited. I can't wait to hug her and just like, oh, she's pregnant. Like, it's like a full circle.
It really is.
She went from watching my baby to now she's having a baby.
She's like 16, I think.
Yeah, 16 or 17.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. So, but I will see you guys in my next video or episode, and I love you guys so, so much. Sending lots of love and light your guys' way. Bye, guys.